Hi and assalamualaikum everyone and welcome to Jungle School Young Ambassadors. So for this podcast episode, we're going to be talking about the stories about the MahMeri. So first of all, I'm going to introduce myself. My name is Aisha.
And I'm Afifa, and today we will be your host for today's podcast, where we will dive deeper into the culture of the MahMeri people.
Okay, but before we start, let's do a quick recap about this last episode, which is episode 4. They talked about the kerchang, about the marriage culture, and about the how the orang asli live in their environment and how overall their practices are sustainable. So for this episode, we're going to be extending upon all the other episodes by sharing some stories and also our experience with the Mahmeri people. Before that, I'm going to a quick question for you, Afifa.
Yeah.
Have you ever even heard about the Mahmeri people before we started this project?
Honestly, no. I've seen the name somewhere in the internet, but I don't really know who they are. So, what about you?
Same, but I think I'm a bit worse than you because at least you've seen it on the internet, right? But I've never seen it before. And it's a bit disappointing for me too, really, because we're Malaysia, right? We live in Malaysia, which is a country that is culturally diverse. We're known to be culturally diverse, right? But most of us are ignorant or clueless about the Orang Asli who have lived here long before us.
Yeah, I agree with you. And that's why we are starting this podcast because we want to spread more awareness about the Mahmeri people. And to be honest, once I started learning about it, I was like, wait, why is no one talking about this? This is so important.
Right. And people usually have this misconception like they live in the forest, like, oh, these people live somewhere so very inaccessible to us. But actually, they live just a few hours away from Kuala Lumpur, like 3 or 2 hours away, I think, Pulau Keri, right?
Right,
Yeah. Or we've been there before, and it's actually not very what people would say in the forest. Is they're like somewhat like us. They live in the shore, at the shore of the beach. So did you also know that they have like such a rich culture, like even richer than ours? They have these dances, these spiritual dances, and they also do amazing wood carvings.
Really?
Yeah, like even their wood carving tradition is actually recognized by UNESCO. For example, there's this wood carving of theirs called the Moyang mask, which is used in their spiritual dances. So it's not just like a tradition for them, but it's a way for them to connect with, their their ancestral spirits. So it's a form of connection with their roots, essentially.
Now that you mention about it, I remember seeing a replica of one of the masks in the museum that we visited,
Yeah.
and I was like, "Whoa, this looked like something that is really sacred."
Really sacred, yeah.
Yeah. So, and once I read about it, it's actually not just an art to them; it's actually part of their beliefs and their identity.
Yeah, and so that shows like when we went to the museum and the more we learned about them through that, we realized like their stories deserve to be heard. Like we need to share their voices. They don't deserve to just be displayed in a museum. We should spread awareness and we should spread their stories to everyone because it's really interesting. Like their wood carvings are used in spiritual dances to connect. Like it's so interesting. So to start, we're going to introduce the MahMeri a bit. So the MahMeri is part of one of the 18 Orang Asli groups in Malaysia, and they are actually classified under the Senoi subgroup. So for the MahMeri, they usually live at shore, which could be from Sungai Pelik up to Pulau Keri, and usually at Selangor.
That's right. And do you know that the name MahMeri itself has its own meaning? The Mah means people, and the Meri means forest. So they are called forest people.
So it really represents who they are.
Yeah.
Like that's really interesting. That's so cool.
And their language, when it comes to the language, the Mahmeri people in the Pulau Keri, they use Bahasa Melayu or Malay instead of their native language, which is Bersisi. And do you know why? You must be wondering why they use Bahasa Melayu, right? Because of the familiarity and exposure of the modernization. So formal education, they use a lot of Malay, and the young people in the tribe are slowly losing fluency over their native language.
It's like their identity, right? So when we went to Pulau Keri, we asked one of the villagers there on what are their biggest fears basically. So it's related to this. They are afraid that their culture or their tradition will slowly fade away due to modernization, and it's slowly happening, like you said.
Yeah, and it's not just about the language, it's about their culture in terms of their dances, their arts, and all the land issues, the modernization, lack of awareness, all these factors are really affecting these people.
So that's why in this episode we feel like it's important for us to share more about the MahMeri so that this culture of theirs don't fade away. So first of all, to the listeners, ask yourself, what do you know about the MahMeri? And does cultural preservation mean a lot to you? And if so, you have to watch our podcast and also do your part in spreading the stories about the MahMeri.
Exactly, and because sometimes awareness starts with just being curious.
Betul.
So, alright, Aisha, I hope that you are ready because we are going to start with our first segment of this episode.
Let's go!
Assalamualaikum and hi everyone. Welcome back to the stories of the MahMeri. We are going to dive into something that is so much more interesting about the MahMeri people, which is about their occupation. So basically what kind of work do the MahMeri people do to sustain their lives?
Right. I feel like that's really interesting to talk about because usually when people talk about the MahMeri, it's not even MahMeri, but orang asli in general, it's like a spectrum between they romanticize the tradition and they assume that the orang asli people are backwards, which is both inaccurate and very unfair to the orang asli, you know?
Yeah, exactly. And I used to think like, oh, they probably just live off the land, like farm or fish. But when we started to do more research and even talk to the MahMeri folks, I was like, wait, their economy is actually a mix of tradition and adaptation.
Both tradition and adaptation. Yes, that is true. I think because they do fish and farm, but they do somehow find a balance between traditional and also adapting to the modern day changes.
So let's break it down. Traditionally, many MahMeri families, they depend on fishing, especially the men. Why? Because they live near the coast, so the sea has always been their source of income and also their source of food.
Really?
Yeah. And what's interesting there is that they use traditional method of fishing, and one of it is the use of bubu.
The use of bubu, you mean that one?
Yeah, this one. It's something like this, but it's not really the bubu.
Because I feel like this one is a bit incomplete, right?
Yeah,
because
but it's something like this. The shape is like this.
One of our mentors actually explained that this is this is the bubu that they use to fish, but it's missing a part here and above here. So basically, the fish will go inside of this, and then it will get trapped in here. So it's very dangerous actually, this thing, because even for humans, if we are, for example, accidentally putting our hands in here, it will be detrimental to get out. It will be very dangerous.
True.
Thank you, Afifa. So besides that, they also don't only catch fish, but they catch other sea creatures such as clams, crabs, and sea snails, because the fish, sometimes when the tide goes out, it's really hard to catch fish. So you have to rely on other creatures, right? And not only do they fish, but they hunt as well, like you said. And they use tools called a sumpit. I don't think we have a sumpit here right now, but basically it's like a blowpipe. And they would use darts that have poison on the tip to kill, whatever they're hunting.
That's really interesting actually, but that's for the men. As for the women, they supplement their family incomes by using their crafting skills. Yeah, they are very expert at weaving. Like this. They can make bags, even mats, and
That's really colorful.
Bujang? Bujam. Yeah, this one is called bujam.
I see. And just like we mentioned in the segment before this, their wood carving is really interesting, right? So usually they would base their wood carvings on ancestral spirits. So there's this one called the Moyang Pongkol, which is based on a spirit who would purposely lure people into the jungle to get lost. So when they would create this mask, there would be an unsmiling face and would have a dark look, to represent the spirit. And then besides that, there's also this mask, which is representing a spirit called the Tok Naning, who usually would eat and pick up things while the spirit was walking around. So people who wear this mask would wear a basket on their back called a gaye, if I'm not mistaken. And they would have a nice round belly and also a happy face.
Yeah, and what I love about each their carving is that it's not just a decoration; it has meaning into it.
Meaning.
Yeah, and I read that each of the carving actually are inspired by the carver's dreams. So they believe that their ancestors, their deities, and their spirits would come into their dreams to tell them about something or warn them about something, and out of respect, they would personify the dreams into carvings. Interesting,
Really?
right?
So their dreams would be like their crafts.
Yeah.
So that's like their source of inspiration. So it's never ending in a way,
Yeah.
because they always dream, of course. But even though it seems like it's too good to be true, and sometimes it is, because the thing about crafts is that it relies on people buying them as their source of income. So whenever there's off-peak season or when there's less tourists, they will struggle, of course, with selling, and then thus affecting their income.
Yeah, true. And that is why it is very, very important for us to support them, not just during the trendy or during the cultural season, but consistently, even doing small things like buying their handmade crafts, visiting their galleries, or share their works online. It really helps a lot.
Yeah, but it seems like we're talking a lot about buying and selling, but it's not all about money, because the most important part is appreciation, because we need to acknowledge that these crafts are created by them, their hard work, and we can't really even do this right now in this modern day generation of ours. So we really need to appreciate their crafts. So what we can do to show our appreciation is basically share it to our friends, and also acknowledging and spreading awareness about the MahMeri people.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going on to the next segment where we're going to be talking about
the
marriage culture, which is very interesting.
Yep.
I'm very excited for that segment.
Yeah.
So don't miss out and stay tuned.
Bye.
Bye. Hi everyone. So interesting thing happened. We have a volunteer from the audience here. Can you introduce yourself, please?
Okay, hello everyone. My name is Nuraina Suhaila, and I am the Creative Director of Jungle School Gombak Malaysia, and also the CEO of the CSC Studio, and also I am the director of the entire podcast.
Yes, so she has been supervising our podcast and decided, you know what, this is an interesting topic. I want to hop in.
Yes.
So we were talking about marriage culture, specifically the kerchang. So this is one of the puzzles used by the males or the grooms, where they have to complete 15 levels in order to marry. Basically. So here, Sister Aina and Sister Afifah.
Actually called Kerchang Jak Renoi. This is actually what we have already recorded in the Malaysia Book of Record. Yeah, we have. It's like around berapa years ago?
2018.
It was on 2018. So at the time, we built like around 30 foot long of this rotan. So imagine the process of going. I remember at the time I wasn't officially the creative director, so I was just budak hingus, budak hingus. I just took my mom's camera and I was like, I have to follow her. And then the rotan, oh my god, it was such a hassle to get the rotan.
Because it was 7 years
like,
ago.
we have to get very, very long ones. So we have to go deep into the jungle with the highest peak. And then the rotan, you guys didn't know, okay, this may come like shiny like this.
But it's
so
actually
nice. It's actually
really, yeah, I understand.
It's actually
It's actually from the forest, right? So yeah, very hard to get as beautiful as this.
And then
right?
the only way for them, there's a way to get it shiny like this as well.
And I believe that it is a lost heritage. The kerchang one.
Slowly it's a dying heritage.
Oh,
it's not lost yet.
Yeah.
It still exists, and there are still just a few handscraftsmen that can do it. So yeah, okay. The way they make this, they have to make sure the rotan is a little bit damp.
Oh,
damp.
I see.
You have to do it while it's a bit damp.
So it's
then
easier to
baru nak-
bend.
Bend.
Yeah,
to
it's
shape
easier.
it.
Yeah. And then after that, nak simple ni awal. Yang besar tu, I know. It was just Major Kalam and also Encik Rahman.
Yeah.
It was only the two of them doing
Just
it.
bending the big
Oh.
rotan.
Yes, it was crazy. I saw the video. I think one of the filmmaker Major Kalam's contact.
Mm-hmm.
He was the one who record everything and do the banner design for it. I saw the time lapse. It was crazy.
The thousands of them basically
It was
doing
like
the
holding
big.
it together.
Oh my,
They
that
have
must be
to-
hard.
So how did they polish it or like make it so
The
smooth?
process.
Okay, I'm not sure about the polishing, but I do know the weaving part though. The weaving part, they technically they don't polish at all.
Oh.
So this is very
It's from
raw.
the touch of their hand.
I see. Magical hands.
It's not magical. It's kasih sayang.
Kasih
Kasih
sayang.
You know how you love your daughter or
Yeah,
kids, right?
they
Yeah.
pour their heart out in the art.
So they do this every 1 hour before they go to sleep.
I see.
So they will do it. So when they touch, because our fingertips have like a bit of friction, right?
Yeah,
It's not totally smooth, and that is
How
How
it
it
gets so smooth.
yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
How did they get it like that color though?
I think this color is it artificial? This is actually
Yes,
an artificial color but
pink
back in the
as
day,
well.
Yeah,
It's very pretty.
chemical.
I
Okay,
see.
how you know?
To make it more interesting to the eyes.
Yeah. So it's a synthetic coloring. I think it's from Terengganu. They love to buy it from Terengganu.
So we
Yeah,
see some
synthetic
kind of
colours.
innovation in the arts.
So back in the day, they like to use flowers.
I see flowers.
Color.
The way they color, they just recycle tau. It was like impromptu. I came to the house. Kampung mana tu? Endang Rumpin, Puslanai. It was a village in Puslanai in Pahang, Kuantan, right? I'm very bad with geography. Okay. So we went there, and then the makcik, it was around afternoon, and then the makcik was outside
I see.
by the fire, and she just used tin tau. It's just an empty can, and then they just put the dye in there, and then they take all the mengkuang,
And then
then just
dip
dip
it.
it.
I see.
And then after that, they dry it on the rack or something under the sun.
Oh, so they dye it before they weave it because I thought they did it all first and then they did
No,
it.
No. I think that we can see. Okay, you guys can see here. Nampak the stripe color here is different.
Oh
Here
yeah.
is different. Here is different.
Oh,
I just noticed that.
That's how you know they didn't dip it inside like
Yeah,
that.
it's not
because it's
even lah.
different.
The color is
The
not
color is
even.
like, but it makes it more nicer because
Yeah.
everything is like.
So that's why the way the guy, we're talking about marriage, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The way the guy choose the girl is there tengok the intricacy
This one.
pattern.
This one.
Any like okay, how do the guy know the girl is good quality?
How?
Well, no, good quality. Marriage
Marriage,
material.
marriage,
good quality.
wife material.
The more
quality,
intricate,
wife
the more
material.
intricate it is,
The more intricate it is, the softer it is.
the softer.
It shows the love that she will have for their future children.
The softer, the more kasih sayang.
Understood.
I mean, maybe I don't know about culture orang asli, but our parents they like it with the slipper, garang slipper, So yeah, that's how.
That's very, very interesting because it actually has a lot of meaning in one thing and not very much people know about it. So you guys already know, then you guys can spread this information to all to expose more about the culture of the MahMeri. Alright.
Okay, so maybe we can discuss the process.
The process of
The
marriage.
process of marriage.
Cara mengurai.
Cara mengurai. We have
The
both the
courting.
men and the
courtship.
women. Okay, so I'll explain for the men.
Okay, yes.
Okay, for the men, they have like I said just before, they have to go through some kind of like a challenge or like this kerchang, they have to go pass all the levels that so that when you pass all the difficult levels, it shows that you are very wise man, and so that if you pass it, you will like some sort of a very good man, a very good husband,
Very have
patience and very critical thinking in solving the puzzle. So that is one of the characteristic that they search for in a groom.
Like okay, for you guys, do you guys want a patient husband or not?
Of course. Of course.
We have a lot of mood
okay,
swings, so they need to be really, really
Really
patient with
patient.
women.
Yeah, exactly. So imagine, okay, that is we're talking about the traditional way orang see. What about you guys?
The
We're going
modern
over
way.
personal. How do you guys pick your partner?
Oh my God.
What's the difference? What's the difference? We're gonna see something a little bit similar, but the way they evaluate a little bit different. So we want to see the modern women, how they do it.
I think modern ways, of course, we don't use the kercham, but there is like puzzling going on, more on the mind games. So
What about you?
me
Personally,
personally,
we have to go personal.
this is very foreign.
Foreign.
Very foreign. I think you would test their patience, of course. Test like how they would react whenever there's something that's
Misunderstanding
yes, a
going, how they
misunderstanding.
handle the
Because
situation.
everyone handles arguments differently. Sometimes they get really baran, you know.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're patient. Sometimes they, run away.
Yeah,
so
from
that's
problems,
how you test them from the low
Yeah.
spots when in a relationship, you know.
So we tend to test on like kalau macam study lah kan. Kita tengok macam kalau kita ada kelas banyak ke atau the guy have kelas banyak. I'm doing this to my boyfriend right now.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So
Some tips for you guys. So listen.
So he have a lot of classes at times when we just finish class ke apa. I just want to test now the result. So I just do a random call. Like, oh, what are you doing right now? So if he like dismiss me, it's gonna be a problem.
That's right.
He has to layan lah.
Yeah, true.
But give chance lah. Bila dia buat mistake, kita mention lah. Oh, you shouldn't dismiss.
I see the audience is very enjoying by this information.
This is like, oh, okay, we can use this one.
It shouldn't dismiss lah. So it goes the same as orang kasi. Going back to the kerja, we tend to test like in that manner.
Yes.
But they test it non-verbal. We test it verbal, right?
Yeah.
So we just use this. So in order for the guy, okay, whenever we want to solve a problem, we have to identify the problem. So where is the problem within this kerja? Nampak benda yang bertindih ni, anything that's stacked, that is the problem and the struggle that we have to go through. So this is what I heard, what I learned from the orang asli people. The rotan is the male guy, okay, the male, and the puzzle is the women. They are rotan. So
The string is
sorry, did I say okay, the string is the man, and the rotan is the women. The reason why we have, you guys can pick up the other designs, even this one, okay, you can hold this. The reason why we have so many different patterns is because women in marriage, there's a lot of phases.
Yep.
So the easiest one, we have to go through these phases first. So whenever we solve one phase, there's still multiple others.
Yeah, and it gets difficult by
More
levels,
difficult,
right?
Yes. So that's the symbol. Okay. So whenever like the guy have to identify the problem kat sini ke apa macam tu. Like this one, this puzzle is only here. The struggle, the problem is only here and here. And you have to go through. For this one, there's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then this one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's a lot more. Yeah.
So it gets difficult, level by level.
So it shows how marriage is like constantly getting more difficult.
Yes.
Yeah, it's not.
And when you get
easy.
child, and you have to handle your parents-in-law,
Yeah.
and stuff like that. So that's how the women see
The man,
the
how
man's resilience.
yeah.
Okay, sebab the process daripada awal-awal, the process as awal-awal, if the woman is interested, it's usually the girl yang silently choosing the guy. The guy, okay, we did that we do that as well.
Yeah.
Okay, it's like kalau macam English folklore, what they do is they drop the handkerchief.
So they drop and then the guy has to pick it
That's
up.
the trick.
Kononnya lah.
Oops.
Macam alamak kita drop. So the
Oops.
gentleman akan come. So, oh, this is my opportunity to talk to the
I
girl.
see.
Then baru dia tu. Padahal kita senyap-senyap. Dia saja sana. We choose the guy. We don't drop to any guy.
Actually,
I think in the modern day we use
we do.
books, and then we start to draw the books.
I need to do that.
actually, our audience just told us a story about this, right? Where a girl keeps falling and then the guy keeps picking her up. So it's the same.
But that is she's accidentally dropping the handkerchief.
Exactly.
But yeah, so cara orang asli, the women will give this. The women will weave this. So ikut orang punya the intensity of their love, of her love to him. The more beautiful it is, the more she loves and yearns for the guy.
It goes the same for the men, right? For the men, they need to like do with the ring. The more complicated the design or the
more colour
pattern, the more color, it shows a lot more love for the woman, right?
Because you know what? Okay, after the girls give this, and then the guys know, okay, she wants to marry. Okay, I think I like her as well. I know that she's from daripada dia kecil. She has a very good art punya work. She's a quite patient lady. I really like her. So he will go all over the hutan. So okay, different color shows like a different rotan in different hutan and different bukit.
I see.
No,
So like different.
Yeah, so lagi banyak different color different tone apa semua.
It shows more
The
effort.
dedication effort he went to a lot of place to make this. What will you guys feel?
I would feel
Make
very,
haru,
very honored. Macam,
So they even call it cincin apa?
Cincin belah
Cincin belah rotan. Like Malay, we use cincin belah rotan juga, but cincin belah rotan kita become emas.
I see.
Yeah. So actually we're following culture orang asli calling it cincin belah rotan. So it's literally belahan from
Belah rotan.
rotan. Yes.
It's very complicated process to get to this one.
Different bukit, different forest.
Yeah.
So belum include lagi ni. So after the guy is interested and he already made this, he doesn't give to the girl. He gives to the future father-in-law. So the father, okay, someone is courting my girl, and he's like gentleman enough to share.
Oh.
So now I want to see your resilience and your patience. So you have to do this in front of me.
Yeah, so they need to solve the puzzle in front of their maybe future in-law.
So while they're solving it, the father-in-law will tell kerenah anak perempuan dia and nasihat apa semua. So imagine you have to listen to that and reply to the old man while doing this. Wouldn't you be nervous?
Very
nerve-wracking. Yeah. So okay. So like technically, madam, your lecturer, Madam Azalfa, is my mom, right?
Yeah.
She used this, okay? She used it on me.
Okay.
So she used it to any guy that shows interest in me.
Oh.
A lot of them fail.
That is very.
I
I think that is very clever thing to do because before marriage we need to always choose the right one for us, right? So that's a very good step to show to know which guy is good for us.
Is patient.
Is patient enough.
He loves us enough.
How much love there is. So yeah.
It's a long story for it.
Yeah.
But since it's a podcast, it's fine.
And then thank you so much for the input. We're really grateful for it. And then I think that because in MahMeri, right, they both the men and the women have the say in marriage. They both can choose their partner, right? So it shows gender equality, even in something as traditional as marriage, which is very important. And guess what? Their community actually allows polygamy.
Really?
For both men and women. They are allowed for polygamy. And then, but even with that, the surprising thing is the divorce rate is low.
Whenever they use this, divorce rate is none.
Yeah, even though there's polygamy allowed, the divorce rate is low. It only happens in a very serious situations. And since the wedding itself is such a long process, it makes sense that the divorce is also would be very hard. So
because they show the genuinity of love.
Yeah.
Since day one.
They really value the love in marriage.
So like I do know this one couple that went through this mak abuk, makcik abuk dengan pak anduk. Yeah. So I think makcik abuk dah sadly she passed away. She was the one that had the certification from, was it she? It was her, right? She was the one that received the certification from UNESCO as the expert in arts and craft and weaving. So we did ask them lah kan in one of our session where we recorded them. We did ask, oh macam mana mak Abu dengan Pak Ando get together kan. So bila nak cerita dia macam makcik Abu macam
Shy cat.
macam tu lah kan. Macam tu guys, makcik tu macam lelaki kan selalu tak boleh nak describe kan. Macam mana nak cakap, sekali sebenarnya dia orang jumpa kat dalam hutan. They were travelling back to dia orang punya different villages. So dia orang bertemu kat dalam hutan. And the guy and Pak Anduk macam, she's quite beautiful macam tu. That's how they met, you know?
Yeah, in hutan.
So very romantic.
Yeah.
And then they look, oh my god, they look like the sweetest orang asli couple I've ever seen though.
That's so adorable. Alright, so when we talk about marriage, right, there must be a kenduri.
Yes.
Or a wedding feast. So in the kenduri, like the whole village of the MahMeri would come together to celebrate the brides and the grooms, and they would prepare traditional foods, perform dances and musics, and also everyone would dress up in their traditional attire. It's so lively situation. And I heard that sometimes the celebration would last for a few days, especially for a big family. It's not just a party, like it's a way of them get together, unite the community, give blessings to the bride and the grooms, and honor the ancestors too.
Because technically MahMeri they have quite, because they live in like one single place in Selangor only state.
Yeah.
They don't have it in another state. So that's why they're much more, their community is a bit more bigger. They will go together.
Because everyone is nearby.
Yeah, we do get, I did went to their kenduri wedding once, right? It was so beautiful. I can add the photo as well footage. I will give the footage. It's so beautiful. Their weaving is always decorative.
Oh,
It's a
that's
bit
so
different.
good.
Like other state, it's a bit more practical. But they have a lot of decoration. They have like the burung and the hats.
Yeah.
The flower they make is a lot more macam-macam lagi.
Oh, I see.
So you guys see in the photo later.
Yep, and in a way, it's a reminder that in MahMeri culture, the marriage is not just about between two people. It's about also joining two families, two histories, and also two futures. So we can really actually learn something from them in terms of the respect to their culture, the patience of the groom and the women in choosing partners, and also the family unity itself. So yeah, I think that we have covered enough.
About marriage, yes, definitely. So for our next segment, it's going to be narration on the challenges, right, that the orang asli face, and then we'll be closing our podcast soon, unfortunately. So yeah, thank you very much, Sister Aina, our volunteer today, and also our director. And she will be
watching them from behind.
Yes, she will continue to be watching us. So that's all for our segment. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
This will be the last segment. I hope it's unfortunate because you guys should miss seeing us, honestly. Okay.
And honestly, I can't believe it that we have reached the end of our podcast. It feels like just yesterday we went to the MahMeri village and the Pantai Chunang. We are so nervous but also excited to learn more about the MahMeri tribe.
Just feel like yesterday we went, right? But actually yesterday we were nervous about all this. But time really goes, really flies, yes.
And we started this podcast with one goal actually, which is to share the stories of the community that not many people hear about, to learn from their way of life, their beliefs, their arts, and their challenges, and honestly, their strength.
And honestly, even throughout this podcast, we learned a lot. We shared knowledge, but we also learned a lot because from the segment with Sister Aina, from learning about the sumpe, about the songkok here. We never knew about that before this actually. So this podcast also, even during the process of recording this, we learned like a lot more.
Yeah, from their spiritual beliefs, the way they face the modern challenges with quite resilience, and there's so much we can take away actually, not just as students, but also as Malaysians and as humans.
And one thing actually is that we had a mask, or we do have a mask, but unfortunately we didn't get to show about it.
Yeah.
But it was my favorite part about their crafts because I really like the stories,
Yeah.
the storytelling. The MahMeri loves
Yeah.
storytelling, right? And the mask is like representing that. But anyways, so what stood out to me the most about MahMeri in general is their community, as we can see in their kenduri
Yep.
and how they interact with each other. So I kept thinking, like, in our fast-paced world, especially in modern times right now, we are very disconnected from even our own neighbors, like our own neighbors that live right beside us, especially when we live in condominiums.
Yeah.
Because I live in a condominium and barely know the neighbors because we barely even meet. But for the MahMeri, they live in a very connected culture.
Yeah, and also it's very good actually to know people around you, very like a neat community, so that we can build more connection
Very
as humans.
rapat.
Yes, more connection as humans, so that we can be more grateful, more appreciative about the value as humans, the connection as
Yes,
humans.
because that's humans. We are made to have connections, right? So that ties us to the next point I have to make, which is your connection, dear listeners, to us, to Jungle School, to Orang Asli. We would like to show our appreciation, not to just the culture, but also to everyone who have tuned in to our podcast and also follow us from the beginning until the end. We are very grateful, and we would like to thank everyone that was here from the start.
Yeah, if there's one thing that we really hope that the dear listeners take away from this podcast, is that the indigenous culture is not just something to visit for a day. It's actually something that we should all respect, protect, and also celebrate.
So this process of ours doesn't end with this podcast, and it did not begin with this podcast. It started a long time ago, and it will continue for a longer time after this. So that's what you guys should also do. Should spread awareness and share to your friends, and don't just do it now. Continue doing it throughout the rest of your lives.
And this may be the final episode of Stories of the MahMeri, but for us, it's just the beginning. We will keep learning, keep advocating, and hopefully keep amplifying the voices that matter.
Even in our audience right now, we have our juniors who will be continuing our legacy, and their juniors, and then their juniors. So unfortunately, it's time for us to go. So until we meet again, probably, who knows? So
In the future.
maybe in the future, inshallah. So see you guys later, and that's the end for episode 5.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening.
Hi everyone, we have an interesting bit here we wanted to talk about because we have 2 new things we wanted to show about the MahMeri or the Orang Asli. So this is a sumpit, as we mentioned previously. So they use this to hunt, and you bring it basically like a bag. You would think this is a handle like a sniper rifle, but no, this is a bag. And the way you use it, I would let my sister Afifa here to show.
Alright, so this one is actually used for the hunt. So they would use it like this, where they aim the animals that they want to kill, and then they just, this one, you can open it, and then there's this...
these darts have poison on the tip from tree sap. So they would use these darts to kill.
Yeah.
Not there.
Oh, the other side.
The other side, the mouthpiece.
Oh, sorry. Oh, faham. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, alright.
This is our first time doing it.
So this is our first time doing. So
As evidently you can see.
we are a bit awkward, clueless. So
But we're learning.
Yeah.
We're learning.
Now we know.
Yeah. So this one goes here, and then you aim, and then you blow.
Do you blow it from here or blow there? I think blow from there.
Go that way.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Okay. So you, this one goes here, and then you blow it, and then you aim, then you target, then you blow.
Yes. So
So,
this
yeah.
is the sumpit. And then the next thing we have,
Yeah, so the pattern of the sumpit is actually very meaningful because this one actually, if you can see it, it's a bamboo
shoot. Yeah.
shoot. Yeah, so
Like a
they
baby bamboo. It's
Yup.
not grown yet. It's
or we know
really
it
still
as
small.
or we know it as rebung. So this one is actually a shape of rebung. It's very interesting, right? Because this is the way they appreciate every small things about nature and turn it into crafts, which is really, really good.
Yes, like they incorporated the design
Yup.
of the bamboo into their tool here.
Yup.
Like they carve it into the wood here.
Yeah.
So how about our next thing, Afifa?
Okay, our next thing is actually this one. I think you guys know what it's called. It's called songkok. In Malay, songkok is the one that man wears, the black one,
The
right?
black one,
Yeah.
like, yes.
But for orang asli, it's actually this one which can be used by both
You
gender.
can lift it up and show it to the
Alright,
camera.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so this one, the circle one is actually represent the sun. Alright, the sun. And then this one is the sun ray. So why? Because orang asli, they often seen the sunrise and the sunset because they live in the coastal area, right? So this is another way of them appreciating the nature, and then so they weave it, the sun, the symbol of the sun, and then the sun ray.
Just like how they incorporated like the bamboo shoot into this, right? So
Rebung.
for their songkok, they put the sun and the sun rays there. And we always have a misconception about the MahMeri, where we assume they are only sea people, but you can see from this that they are actually sun people as well, because
Yep.
when you live at the sea, when you live at the beach, right? So you will often see sunset, sunrise.
And then-
So they would like to incorporate that beautiful nature
Yeah.
that they see like every day into
It's
their
very
crafts.
live,
Yeah, it's
right.
very interesting. I
It's-
really like it
yeah.
how everything they create has an element of nature into it. So that's the two things we wanted to show everyone, which is the songkok and
then
also
the
the
sumpit.
yes. So I hope you guys can
Gain more knowledge.
gain more
about the
knowledge about the crafts and
crafts.
tools of the MahMeri.
Yeah.
Bye.
Thank you.